All right.
Okay, guys, so welcome everyone. And we are starting another wonderful webinar. Those webinars are organized by the Weekly Fasting Group, which is a big international community operating online. And the common denominator of this community is that we abstain from food for at least 24 hours every week. That's the only common denominator. Other than that, we have people coming from different background in terms of diets, in terms of lifestyle, in terms of spiritual background, and we welcome everyone in the spirit of tolerance. And we actually build this really, really loving community where everything is accepted. We tolerate even points of view that are different from others, and we are here to learn from each other. And every week we try to bring another speaker for those webinars to talk about nutrition, about spirituality, about fasting, about lifestyle, and other interesting subjects. We even had few webinars on relationships, things like that. So anyway, so if you're watching this video later on, because it's going to be available to everyone on YouTube, and if those ideas appeal to you, you would love to cultivate this habit of abstaining from food for 24 hours at least every week, find like-minded, open-minded people, you're welcome to send me a WhatsApp message. My name is Arik. I moderate this community, and my WhatsApp number, you will find it below this video, and I'll happily add you there. So that was my brief introduction. So today we have with us Chris Phx. Hello, Chris. Thank you for coming.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're going to cover lots of very, very deep subjects, and a lot of that, how you connect the spiritual and the material. It's complete. It totally fascinates me, this subject. I have a very, very deep respect for people who actually succeed to live in the world, but to be not completely of this world, to live in other dimensions as well. And I have lots of questions of my own, and we also got lots of questions from the community. But before that, Chris, we will start with a short guided meditation. So over to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you again for having me. And I feel honored to be here with this very, very special group. I know all of you are looking for answers and looking for the light. And you not only are looking for, but you are doing a lot of stuff concerning that. Fasting a week. Not everybody does that. So I admire you, and I really thankful to be here. So we're going to start with a very short meditation. This used to be a longer one, but I'm gonna try to shorten it for the benefit of the speech. This is a meditation I learned years ago in Mexico, in the desert of Mexico, with my shaman friend Victor Sanchez. I love to mention names because they are all part of the path we follow. So I would love to speak about those who have helped me to come where I am. So Victor Sanchez, a very good friend, very nice person. He taught me this meditation in the middle of the shamanic desert in Mexico, and it has helped me a lot to do two things: to get rid of stuff I don't need to, and to bring back the stuff I have given away, but it's mine. I want to recover it. So it's wonderful for this purpose, and it is also wonderful to try to get rid of your past traumas and experiences, as you will see. The meditation is called recap or recapitulation. It's shamanic, so it's practiced all around Mesoamerica, Canada, Argentina, Chile, Peru, everywhere, even in Siberia. You know, shamanism is all around the world. It's a very ancient tradition, human tradition. So, okay, to start, I'm going to explain it in a simple way, and before we start. So, what we're going to do is two things. We're going to move our head from one side to the other, and we're going to breathe in and breathe out according with the movements of the head. By doing so, we're going to split the movements of the head, the breathings in two. One is expiring, breathing out, and the other is inspiring, breathing in. So let's start with the first one, expiring. Let's explain the purpose of expiring, breathing out. When you breathe out, you get rid of the things you don't need anymore. So I will invite you, when you do this expiration, when you do the breathing out, to think, please, about the things that are bothering you, concerning you, any pain, whatever, and get rid of that. Send it with the breathing out, send it to the eternity, to without harm, to infinity. And that is for this breathing out. For the breathing in, imagine you are gonna breathe in whatever you need to, peace, love, something you lose, even material things, bring them back to you. All right. So let's start. The first one, first I will explain, then we'll do 3 times each. The first one is going to be like this. You look forward, you look forward, you relax yourself. Normal breath now is not going to be a deep breath, just relaxing. After you relax yourself, you just breathe in, looking forward. Once you do that, you turn your head towards your left side, your left side. You're gonna look at me as a mirror. It's like this, left side. Once you do that, you start moving your head towards the right. It's gonna be like this. Inspire, left side, and inspire. Again, I'm gonna do that again. Inspire. When you inspire, you just feel that you are getting rid of the things you don't need anymore. It's all energy. And when you say do so, you are commanding your energy to liberate from you, to get away from you. So this is the first one. Let's do this 3 times all together, please. Okay? Relax, straight, sit straight if you can. Look forward. Please inspire. Now turn your head to your left without inspiring. When you are looking to your left, just inspire, moving your head towards your right. Again, inspire, move your head, inspire. Inspire, move your head, inspire. One more time. Remember, when you are inspiring, release all that you don't need anymore. Now, you may feel like you are getting drunk with the good energies now. Then we are going to do the second part. The second part. It doesn't matter if you are not doing that perfectly well. Maybe for some of you, this is going to be the first time you listen to this practice. It doesn't matter. Now you know it exists, and now you know it's good. You can check it out on internet. It's called recap. Okay, now let's do the other thing. Whenever you are here looking to the front, now you move without inspiring. You move your head towards your right without breathing in or out. Once you are looking towards your right, you move your head towards your left, inspiring. Look forward and inspire. It is like this. right, inspire, forward, inspire. What are what you're doing when you inspire, moving your head is that you're bringing back what is yours, your treasure, all the things you have given away, all the things you have given away. Okay, let's try to do this together now. So look forward. Now move your head towards your right without inspiring, and then breathe in, please. Moving your hair towards your left. Collect that. Look forward. Inspire. Breathe out. Again, without breathing in, towards your right. Inspire. Inspire. One more time. Without inspiring, without breathing in. Right. Inspire while moving your head. Bring it on the back to you. Inspire. Okay. Well, it's kind of complex at the beginning. Once you manage it, once you master it, it's wonderful. Now I'm feeling great. Hope you keep that in mind. If you would like to practice a kind of meditation, it'll be fine. So that would be all. That's a meditation, and then thank you for for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much. Okay, Chris, now let's delve into our interview. Now, Chris, the first question: when and how did you understand that there is something more to life than just living in this matrix like most people live? How did it happen in your case?
Okay, my God, that is a quite a good question. Very good question. Well, I'm gonna be honest here. How it happened to me? It happened to me many years ago. I was a little kid. I, I have happened to remember my whole childhood and my previous lifetimes, all that stuff. I remember all of them as if it has happened yesterday. So I remember the exact point. Well, that may not be the case of everybody. Yeah, that's just my case. And okay, every case is different. So uh, it happened to me when I was 1 year and a half, 18 months old. I remember where I was, when I was, how was the weather, everything. I remember everything. So, and it happened to me after a huge trauma. I had trauma, a very huge trauma. Everything was going smoothly until that time. And then this trauma comes to my life, changed completely my life. When that happened, I had to stop being a kid. I had to start thinking about myself and start to making decisions about my life.
Was it
There
like,
is
was it a physical trauma or psychological one?
both, both, both. Unfortunately, for most of us who are in the path searching, we have to experience trauma. Is the way. Is the way. Unfortunately, is the way to say, okay, I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna be here quietly doing so. Yes, and then after that happened, I decided that I had to take charge of my life at the early age of 18 months. Can you imagine? And then I decided that I had to take charge of my life and do my own stuff to set free, to be free. And that's what I really started looking for by myself. I made a couple of decisions, is what some people may call decrees. Yes, I didn't know at the time the concept, but I did 2 or 3 serious decrees. And that has led to where am I now. So if that answers your question, Gary, that's how it happened.
Okay, okay. So you really remember vividly that moment? How old were you then? Like 1 year and 8 months, you said?
In 6 months.
And 6 months, and then you
Yes, sir.
decided that you have to actually build your own life, and you had to actually, follow your own way. Yeah.
Yes, my life was my problem, nobody else's. And nobody else is
Mm-hmm.
gonna care about it. So I made that decision. Yes.
Okay, okay. So how did you implement this decision or this vision in such a young age from then
All
on?
right. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the question. I noticed that I had to take control of certain things of my life. Yeah, there were at that early age there were no control of most of the things that happened to me, but there were one or two things that I could control. One thing I could control is to start learning by myself, looking for the path. And then at that early age, I decided I had to learn how to read by myself. And I did. I did. Uh, 1.5 years later, I was a very good reader. I read a lot. It was amazing. When I entered school, kindergarten, I already read and wrote. Yes, so everything. So I decided that if there is one way to know the way out is by learning. And then I became a learner. And the way to learn is to learn the symbols used to communicate, to convey the information, the wisdom, the knowledge. So I needed to do that, and I did actually that at that early age. And I started reading uh, voracious, a lot, and everything that came up to my mind, to my hands, I read them. And then I knew that by reading, I will find a way to be in charge. That's one thing. And another thing that I did, but that was unconsciously, maybe I brought that from previous lives, is that I became external. I don't know. I've dealt with many traditions, so I may use the terms that are appropriate according to that tradition. Becoming external is a process that happens to you, and it's explained by one particular tradition, Scientology. And then they say that when you become external, it's because you are here and you don't know how to handle things, and you got out and contact your higher being, and then you know what to do and came back. And so uh, it has happened to me naturally. I didn't intend that. I didn't know that was possible, but I did that all the time. Whenever things were out of control, it became external. And from the outside, I saw and I decided things. I came back and do things. So it was all on my own. Yes.
So
So
did
that's another thing. I mix the two: learning mundane stuff and becoming external, getting the wisdom from the outside world and bringing it back here.
Wow, amazing. So did you actually find yourself in a very young age reading like heavy philosophy books, books about life, things like that?
I beg your pardon. Did I?
You mentioned that you learned how to read in a very young age. So
Yes.
did you start reading those books about spirituality, religion, philosophy from the young age? How old were you when you actually started reading them?
Okay. Well, it took me a while to learn to read, of course, and I entered school. But by the age of 6 years old, I started reading a lot. Fortunately, my father, who he used to be a lawyer too, he is dead now. He's passed away. Uh, he's got a huge library, huge library. My God, it was a lot of books about every possible topic, from encyclopedias to law books, lots of law books, medicine, religious, philosophy. I read all of them. I read all of them. He at the time he used to be an Adventist of the Seventh Day, so he's got a plenty of books of Adventism. I read all of them. I read all of them, and I learned that there were options to my Catholic background, But also, I read the Catholic things. I read the whole story of the church, and I was really interested in the life of the saints. And so I did read them, and also, okay, the first school, the first mystical school I consciously had a kind of knowledge of. It was back in, okay, I was 7 years old. I remember that clearly. I knew where I read it. I knew when I was everything. It was the Rosicrucism. I read the books because my dad was kind of involved with the Rosicrucians. So I started reading them, the meaning of life. It was wonderful for me. It was amazing. Oh my God, all these theories. How wonderful was that for me at the time? And I started knowing that there were even things beyond even what the Catholic Church taught me, you know, because Catholic Church can be really transcendental, very, very transcendental. There are parts of the Catholic Church which are amazing, amazing. The communities, the Benedictines are one of the most wonderful communities within the mystical path. So I have friends there. So besides that, the Rosicrucianism, that was the first one, and from then I went on. I went on. I kept moving on.
Very good. But you also mentioned the Seventh Day Adventist. So what was the religious background of your family? Was it Catholic or was it Seventh Day Adventists? Like in terms of the beliefs of your mom, of your dad, you know?
Catholic, Catholic, Catholic.
Catholic. So it was Catholic.
Definitely, I was raised Catholic. I was baptized. I got the confirmation. I got the Primera Comunión, First Communion, and everything Catholic. I did all that. I did all. I went to mass. I went to mass every Sunday. So it was Catholic. My mother was very, very fond of the Catholic tradition. My father, his since he was raised Catholic, but he went into the Adventist of the Seventh Day Adventist.
Yes.
Then he didn't went to the Catholic stuff, but he abandoned the Seventh Day Adventist. So he was not a good example for that. But he left the books and the questioning, the need to question things,
Yes.
because he did that. So I learned that from him.
Yeah. So could you say that your parents encouraged your free thinking and your search for truth?
Indeed, indeed, indeed. That is not for free. That is not for free. Absolutely. Okay. I may have come with the program, to look for. I remember that from my past lifetime. My past Bardo, I did the whole thing. I was gonna do. I did the program, the planning. Part of that was that, but part of that was also being born by these two particular parents who induced me to search for religious things. So definitely, yes, it was a huge role in my initiation of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, in my interviews, usually when we introduce a new term, I like to clarify it, to actually explain. Because so you mentioned these Bardo things. I think it comes from Tibetan Buddhism, if I'm not mistaken. So could you define Bardo?
Definitely. Thank you. Yes. I use Bardo for the lack of a better word. As I explained, I take concepts from the different traditions which are appropriate. Bardo is actually, Tibetans say that between human lives, there is a particular life in which you are a subtle being, and then you go there consciously, and with the help of others, higher beings there, you plan your next life, you know? So I remember that life clearly. It was 18 human early years I was there, and I was helped by a lot of people. Well, not a lot, 20 something people helped me to do my planning of this life. So that's what happened in the Bardo. Also, I have to say, Bardo does not happen the same way to everybody. No, it's different. It's different. Some people even may not be conscious of the Bardo thing. They may just die, go up there, unconscious of the time, and they come back. That's it. That may happen. But others may go there consciously and then plan the things, talk to people, and came back here consciously. And there is also conscious when you die, conscious when you go to the Bardo, conscious when you stay there, conscious when you come back, conscious when you enter your mother's womb, and conscious when you are born. That's exceptional, but they may happen too.
Yeah.
That's the Bardo.
Amazing. Chris, and tell us, so what about dietary choices in your family? Because I know if your dad was involved with Seventh-day Adventists, they're heavy on vegetarianism and veganism. So did it affect somehow yourself and your family?
A good question. Actually, it was just to know that exists and that it may be good. That's all. I didn't practice anything because of course, he even went to a high school from the Seven Adventists here in Colombia, in Medellin, and there they only eat fruits and veggies, and he mentioned that with proud. Then that proud came back to me, and okay, That program was there until it woke up. It entered in force. But at the time, I didn't do anything. I just ate what they gave me, which was
Okay.
everything.
Okay, Chris, and tell me, so along with your spiritual pursuit, spiritual search, would you see yourself like acting in the world, getting like was it your conscious decision to go and be a lawyer? And then you also mentioned in our private talk that you were a teacher and a professor. So how did you see from the early age the combination between the spiritual and the material?
Okay, combination between spiritual and material.
Yeah, when
From
you were
early
young, when you
age,
were when
yes.
you were
Yeah, I know, I
a
know,
child or a teenager.
I know, I know. Okay, yes. Uh, in a way, is the way I see things now too.
Yes. So tell us.
They are not separate. They are not different. There is not one word which is mystical, religious, and another which is no. Both are the same. Everything is one. Yeah. So to me, from the very beginning, I was conscious of that. So I did my religious practice. I was very Catholic at the beginning before going to other religion. Then I did my religious practice. I went to school. So I knew that to deal with the world, I have to do worldly things. And then I decided to become a lawyer. It was an interesting decision, but it happens by itself. So it was part of my spiritual path, becoming a lawyer. Because the spiritual path, mundane path is the same path. It was part of my path. You know, that's how I see things. I don't split both. I see both.
That's
I
amazing.
answer your
So,
question.
that's amazing. So, could you say that with the years you have learned how to utilize worldly situations for spiritual growth and development?
Yes, definitively. Not only that is the best way too for me.
I agree. I agree.
I know there are people who go away and go to a cave and stay there for years until they got alignment. Sort of that is not my path. That is not mine. Mine has got to be involved here. So I use the things in the world to help me to progress in my spiritual path.
Mm,
It was challenging. It's the most difficult way to do it because if you go to a monastery, to an ashram, to a meditation center, to a retreat, everything is fine. Everybody is a saint. Nothing bad happens to you. You are saint too, you know. But the things are suppressed. Your shadows are in there, and they cannot come out, and they will come out in the most inconvenient moment. Yes, but if you deal with them every day, you, oh my God, this is happening, then you start not only learning how to deal with, but you start learning how to get rid of from the root, from the root. So the
mm-hmm,
best way to do a spiritual practice is being in the world, in my opinion. Actually, there is one tradition that uses being in the world to grow spiritually enormously. It is the shamanic way. The shamanic way. There are two paths in the shamanic way. I'm gonna say this briefly, really briefly. The path of the dreamers go away and they just sit in a corner and do their job and that's it. But the stalkers, those shamans that stalk, they stalk the world. But above all, they stalk themselves by being in the world, and that's the way to be to get strength, to be stronger, and to be able to face the infinity. For shamans, their alignment is called facing the infinity, being able to do so, and for that they have prepared the whole life dealing with worldly things. A collateral comment about this is that the stalkers are the happiest beings in the world. Okay, the others, they are not that happy. They tend to get depressed because they are isolated, and it's natural. It's human thing, human stuff. We are gregarious. We are a gregarious animal. So the stalkers are really happy people. You look at them; they are funny. So, but that's a way to handle things, and I love that way. I love it. I am not good at that actually. I'm not good at that. I have a lot of shadows and things and weaknesses, but I try to.
Amazing. Yeah. Like every one of us, we are here to learn and to develop. Yeah. No one is perfect. Anyways, so Chris, tell us a little bit about your spiritual path. Which stations did you have on your path? Which practices have you practiced? Which philosophies were you exposed to, etc.?
All right, all right. Okay, as I said in my little bio, I've done a lot of things since I started very young age, as you already know. So I did a lot of things, about 60, 70, I don't know how many. It's a lot of things, seriously, because I really wanted to know each. So I stayed in each of these practices about 6 months until 3 years, and those who has which I have resonated, and have felt they are part of my path. I, I have kept them with me. So I'm going to talk only about these ones. Those I have kept with me. The first one, it was uh, it was the Catholic. All that was important. But the mystical part actually started for me back in December 2000, when I took my first course of Vipassana in the school of Goenkaji, the Birmanian master teacher. So I took the first course in 2000, and I realized that that was a really serious path, very, very serious. The discipline of those courses, my God, you cannot talk for 10 days. You cannot communicate with anyone for 10 days. You woke up at 4 a.m., you go to sleep at 10 p.m., you during all that time you meditate 9, 10 hours a day. It was a serious path. So actually, it has been a gradual thing from before, many experiences from other traditions, but it all started seriously for me at that time. I was the first one Vipassana. I still do Vipassana under this school, and I go deep into the Buddhist traditions, and I have compared them, and I have stick to him, to Goenkaji's school. But now I'm not going to courses anymore. I'm doing that by myself. I meditate here at home every day.
So
Vipassana,
yeah, Chris.
yes.
So do you have your daily practice? Like, how long do you practice Vipassana every day, on average?
Okay, of course, you don't want to know. 3 hours.
3 hours. Wow.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, yes, three
And
hours.
how do you squeeze it in your busy schedule as a lawyer? Do you do like it in a row, or you just separate it by chunks? How do you
In
do that?
two parts. The first one, 2 hours in the morning, and the last 1 hour at night in the evening. But
Mm-hmm.
since I am a pranic being, I don't sleep that much. I sleep about 3 hours a day, and I don't take time eating things. So I got plenty of time to do all my stuff. I woke up very early. If I woke up, sometimes I don't sleep at all, and I don't need to sleep, because that's what happens to the pranic people. The pranic people get the energy directly, and we don't need to rest because we are not eating solid. Okay, I do it something. I will explain that later on because I'm level 3, but I got a plenty of time, so I got time to do everything I need, including these 3 hours of meditation, of my prana, my sadhana, as the Indians say, sadhana. I love that word.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yes.
sadhana in Pali, sadhana in Sanskrit.
Yes,
Yeah, so I
absolutely.
do, just to finish up, to answer the question briefly, Vipassana. Then in 2004, I got in contact with Govindam, Master Govindam, the American teacher, who is disciple of Ramaya, who is disciple of Babaji directly. So I'm a kind of fourth generation below Babaji. I'm honored about that. And then he taught me the 144 Kriyas. I was initiated in that in 2004. Then I started doing Kriya Yoga seriously from that time on, both
Yeah,
Vipassana and Kriya
Chris,
Yoga,
I'm
every day.
sorry. Again, we have introduced a new term, kriyas. I myself don't really know what it means, and I'm sure many other people don't really know what it means. Could you give like short definition of that?
Definitively. Allow me to do a brief introduction about yoga. Yoga is many things. Yoga is many things. All the practices, spiritual practices that involves kind of meditation, breathing, and movement can be called yoga, and are called yoga. We call about Tibetan yoga, for instance, yeah, tantric yoga, Raja yoga, Bhakti yoga. Okay, Kriya yoga is one of the particular views of this yoga. Kriya means practice. Kriya means exercise. Kriya means doing something, doing something. A Kriya could be moving my phone from here to here if I do consciously. Yeah, you know. Then Kriya Yoga is the yoga of the practice. Someone called them the royal, but there is another which is also called the royal. But this is a very interesting path I have come across with, and I appreciate I have met this teacher, my teacher Marshall Govindam, who taught me, and I also appreciate the option to be in contact with this Kriya Yoga. And then Kriya Yoga is the yoga of the practice. It's got about 5 fields that involves Hatha Yoga, which is the physical one, which involves meditation, Shuddhi, and a lot of meditations with object, without object, to reach the Samadhi, you know, Sarvakalpa, Nirvakalpa, all of that stuff. And there is also a Karma Yoga, which is practice by doing things, helping others and that, trying to get rid of your and the pranayama, which is one of the wonderful ones, you know, the breathing exercises. I have found the Kriya Kundalini pranayama is so wonderful. My God, it's so powerful. In my opinion, the most powerful kind of pranayama there is. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
have to be careful because it's so powerful. You bring back down all those energies, you're gonna explode.
Wow.
Literally,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
literally. But I don't know if I answered the question about what Kriya is and what the Kriya Yoga practices.
Yeah, so I just give you my understanding. So Kriya, according to what you said, what I get is just action. So action done consciously with awareness. So
Yes, sir.
that's the meaning of Kriya itself. But then Kriya Yoga basically teaches you different practices in order to uplift yourself spiritually in a very significant way.
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. And then
Yeah.
that's why I was initiated in the 144. 144 kriyas is the minimum you have to practice every year to to progress, to ascend, you know. And then
Yes.
I was initiated in all of them. You cannot learn by reading a book and Google. You have to learn that directly from your teacher, who
Mm.
initiates you in that within a controlled environment. I'm going to explain about it later because I think that's the same thing for pranic living.
Yes, and do you practice Kriya Yoga on a daily basis until
Right?
today?
Every day, daily since 2004. I didn't stop that, and I do that on a daily basis. Kriya
Mm.
Yoga, and then I went on to Tao, which is the other practice I did. I was initiated in Boston back in 2011 by a Chinese teacher who happened to be there at the time. I was there too. And then he started me to teach this particular practice, which is the alchemic Tao. There are many Tao practices, and even there is a Tao which is not a practice at all. It's just sitting and contemplating, you know, it's living. And there is also a religion, a Tao religion. I went to temples and they do the ceremonies and the rituals and all that stuff, which is important. It helps. Yes, but I was not much into that because I've been a lot into ceremonies, rituals, and all that is formal stuff. So I did start the practice. It was so serious to me, and I started doing the practice. Alchemy Tao is the way to sublimate, transformate your energies into something which is higher and takes you to higher conscious states. Basically, the sexual energy, for instance, you learn how to transmute it and to transform it. They have a lot of terms. It's complex, very complex, but they teach you how to take the generative force, which is the semen in men's. In women, there is also an equivalent to that, and it's even liquid, it's even fluid. And then you take from there the energy. It's not that the semen transformates into energy. No, no, no. It sticks to the body, minerals, vitamins, all it's got. Also for the women, also for women, they also have fluids. They're fluids too. And then you take the energy and you rise that energy through your spinal cord, describing a microcosmic orbit, as they call. You learn how to rise up to several specific points in your spinal cord, here in your head, here, and rising down toward the lower part of your abdomen, and then you storage your energy here after transformed. And then once you store it, you are supposed to heat it with the fire of the attention. In the cauldron, there is a cauldron here. All this is metaphorical, because it cannot be explained directly, because there are no words for that. And this cauldron heats the energy and starts by heating them. It kind of cook the
Wow.
energy, and the energy after cooked is transformed, and it starts rising to 3 points in the body until it rises here, in the middle of the head. Some may call it the pineal gland, the third eye. The Taoist people call them the original cavity.
Mm.
And once it gets to the original cavity, okay, miracles and a lot of things start happening. Well, it's a long story, but I've been practicing since 2011 daily. Also, I have mixed practices. I warn you not to do this, not to mix practices. No, no, no. It's a no, no. If you do that, but you are not sure what you're doing, just playing around, you could be in trouble, in serious trouble. Do not mix practices. Try one, see if that works for you, and then stick to it. That's it. You know, it's very dangerous. Okay, I'm sharing with you that, and I even explain things, but I'm telling you to do different to what I have done. How is that
Yeah.
possible?
Chris,
Paradoxical.
Chris, I just want to clarify. Would you define mixing practices? For example, if a person is doing their Vipassana in the morning and then Kriya Yoga in the afternoon, like after maybe 5 6 hours, something like that, would it still be mixing practices, or would it not be mixing practices, in your opinion?
All right, very good question. Okay, one thing in my own experience, I have learned to handle that because I was programmed to handle these things. I remember my past lifetime and my bardo, and I knew that I would be able to do so because I came with the skill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and, and even they told me that I my one I have several power animals. One of those power animals that are always with me, and this one is gonna be with me my entire lifetime. This lifetime is the tiger. The tiger walks among the fire and doesn't get bored. Yeah, but that is something you're gonna have to be sure you are. Mixing practices. Your question. Okay. Uh, every person is individually particular, is different. So this is not for everybody. I advise you, if you're trying to mix practices, talk to a authorized teacher before, you know, and the teacher will tell you if you are able to do the mixing or not. For instance, as a general rule, never mix Kriya Yoga with Vipassana. As a general rule, never mix Reiki with Vipassana. Otherwise, you are gonna regret it seriously. Regret it. I I have I have witnessed, or I have seen cases. I have seen by myself cases. It was this lady in a Vipassana course. She was practicing seriously Ranta. You remember Ranta? The channeling energies from this higher being, which is called Ranta. I think Ranta.
I don't know.
She was
Okay.
doing that seriously, and then she went to the course. And after she went to the course, at the sixth day, everything started getting crazy for her. Absolutely crazy. All this energy, she lose control of the energies, because Vipassana is like looking with a microscope the energies, with a what do you call una lupa? I don't know the name for lupa. when you see things, and
Magnifying
then
glass. Magnifying
yes,
glass.
sir, thank you, with a magnifying glass. But if you do something else, like Kundalini, like Reiki, like Ranta, like canalizing energies, is like taking the magnifying glass and looking at the sun, something like that. It's crazy. So she was out of control, and then somehow she came up to me. Somehow she talked to the teacher, and okay, the teacher told him things, but somehow the universe brought her to me. Kind of the universe knew I had the answer. So I immediately recommended her to stop doing Vipassana, and immediately recommended her to try to ground because she was too high. Ground yourself, ground yourself. Get rid of the shoes and go to the earth. Even eat something solid, denser. And it doesn't matter if it's gonna be beef, a little bit of beef. Come on, you needed that, and she needed that, and what? And after a while, I told her, if after you pass through this, stick to one of those practices. Don't do all of them. So that's why I do not recommend mixing practices, and the danger of mixing practices, and the danger of doing them too much.
Very
It's really
interesting.
dangerous. It's really dangerous.
I agree. Very interesting. Okay, so we were on this line of practices. So you mentioned Vipassana,
Okay,
you mentioned Kriya Yoga, you
Vipassana,
mentioned
Kriya-Yoga,
Tao.
Tao. Okay, the important thing about my experience on this for everybody is not that I'm doing them simultaneously or whatever. The important thing is that I've learned them, and I can share with you my opinions about them, and I can even advise you how to do one of these. Those who are doing Tao want to do Tao. Those who are doing Kriya Yoga or even Vipassana, I could help them to find their way. You know, their way. Okay, that's the only thing. The only important thing about me practicing all this stuff. Okay.
Sure. Were there any other in addition to that? Were
Oh
there
yes,
any other
well, no.
practices?
After that, yes, I was with there. Thank you. No, the next one was the pranic living, the pranic way of living. Seriously, and I have developed my own practices by myself, revealed to me and developed by me. But that's something very individual, very from Chris.
Yes, very interesting, Chris. Now let's talk a little bit about your evolution towards pranic living. So first of all, do you see any connection between food intake and refining foods and getting to pranic living? I mean, is it like a linear process, like a person eats in a more refined way, or there are some other mechanisms that are involved here?
A very good question. Thank you, Eric, for allowing me to talk about it. There is not a pattern, in my opinion. All that I am saying here is my opinion, my personal opinion, my personal experience.
Absolutely.
Others may think or may have experienced different things. You know, to me, there is not a pattern. There's not. If you're asking me if there is a gradual lightening of the food intake, is that what you're asking me? Okay. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. If you feel, if your cells, your body tells you that you need to do that, so do it. Do it. Some people may think that, but thinking is rational. Thinking is rational. It may sound logical, but we are not talking about logic here. It may sound logical to say, okay, I eat beef, then I stop eating beef, but I eat meat. Then from meat, then I go to only white meat, fish and stuff. And then from there, I go to only no meat, but eggs, milk. And then get rid of that. And then I went into a veggie diet. And from veggie diet, I went into a raw, raw food diet. And from raw food, I go only to fruits. And from fruits, I go only to liquids. From liquids, I go only to water. And from water, I so close to pranic, then I go to prana. No, to me, it doesn't happen that way. Everyone's got his own path. It may sound logical. And if it works for you, do it. Come on. For God's sake, do it. But it's not necessarily what. Do not stick to that. It's my personal advice. Do not stick to a kind of schema. My case, I just jumped from eating beef, whatever, Colombian beef, to becoming pranic. Yeah, it happened. Just happened overnight.
Chris, so I just want to ask something. So, did your previous practices, such as Vipassana, yoga, Tao, did they require any kind of dietary changes, like stopping eating meat or whatever?
Okay, okay. Yes, good question. Traditionally, every yogi is vegan, period. If you are a yogi, you are vegan. If you are vegan, you are a yogi. It's the same.
But Chris, I think that they do it. They do consume milk products, or they don't, because vegan
Yeah.
is the one who does not consume any animal products. But yogi, I think in yoga they do consume milk products, or not, or maybe I'm mistaken.
I'm addressing that thing because it's not that clear. I was initiating with this statement. Every yogi is vegan. Yeah, I've been yogi for many years, and I ate beef, and I was a yogi. You know, I tend to think, with all due respect for the traditions, with all due respect for the traditions, I do think that the kind of intake is more of a culture thing than a real need out from the practice, unless you yourself and your body and your higher self tells you to. You know, what you intake is important for your practice, indeed, but it's not the way the social structures tell you. For instance, I'm gonna tell about a very what do you say, controversial topic. The Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, the last Buddha, who used to live 2,500 years ago. Our last Buddha, the one we knew about. No? And then many people in India say he was vegetarian. Many people. With all due respect for my Indian colleagues, my brothers from India, I love India. It's my second home country. I think that it is a cultural thing, because in the Tipitaka, and the traditional scriptures about Buddha, it's never said that he didn't eat meat. Even there is a theory. There is a theory that says that the Buddha died after he ate pork, but it's not because of he ate meat, but because he has decided to die by taking a kind of food. But if that is so, he was a veggie. Okay, the shamans are not vegans at all, and they follow this huge, strong spiritual path. It's got out results. My God, it's miracles what they perform, and where they go after they enlighten, when they get the third attention. My God, but they eat meat, they kill animals, they do a lot of stuff. They are indigenous. Our indigenous do not dare not to kill animals if they need to. What they are against is against killing massively just to get money, as the industries and the factories and the big corporations do, and the big food industry do. But that's a controversial topic. I'm not taking part here. I have decided my own path. I just showing you that there are different ways to see things.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so please move on. So you were eating standard like Colombian diet, meat and other things. And did you drink alcohol, by the way, before going pranic?
That's a good question. Yes. I not before going panic. I am alcoholic. I am an alcoholic. So I have problems dealing with the alcohol. I have had for 18 years or so. I touched the bottom. I went to the bottom, absolutely. I did all the process, and then I went to Alcoholic Anonymous. When I went to Alcoholic Anonymous, my miracles. Actually, that was my first serious experience being in Alcoholic Anonymous, because Alcoholic Anonymous is not a psychologically or medical stuff. It's spiritual. It's spiritual. And then I used to drink alcohol, but way back before becoming a pranic. I stopped drinking. My last drink so far, I mean, for today, as we alcoholics say, it was in 1995. So it
Okay.
was it was I I think it was kind of the path, because it was needed for me to stop drinking, to do the other stuff, because drinking doesn't help you at all for nothing. It doesn't help for nothing unless you wanna go outside of the world and living in an illusion. You know, the in Mesopotamia, the word for alcohol means illusion. It's
Very
so
interesting. Very,
so
very
so.
interesting.
I'm sorry, I diverted from your question, but it was related to alcohol. So I did drink alcohol. Then, if I may, I think related to the question and to trying to get back to the topic, to the core topic is I could talk about the levels and how I live the levels of pranic levels that were explained marvelously and were designed actually. He is the inventor, the creator of them, Nicolas Pilart's, the wonderful French guy who lives in Italy and who has set the Pranic World Festival every summer in Italy, in Cocore. So he conceived. His mind is very, very rational, but also very, very mystical. Altogether, it's a marvelous combination. He knew that he needed to set a schema and structure for us Westerners to understand the thing. And he said, okay, let's think about the levels and let's split this into levels. And he designed 4 levels uh, for us to be able to understand even a little bit more the path of becoming a pranic being, which is marvelous because we got so clarity about it. And then what Nicolas said at the beginning is that there is one level, the level one, and I'm gonna explain the levels and explain my experience concerning the level. Level one is
Absolutely.
the thank you, Eric. And then level one is the level in which you just get no, it is possible to live without food. You know that some people may have been living without intaking anything solids or liquids. Okay, it's amazing, but you knew, say, my God, most of the humanity do not know that, do not even get in touch with the information. Uh, Set aside the fact that they believe it or not, but most of them do not. Then that is the first step. My first step, when I knew it was possible, okay, well, I knew about the patrons of the church, the Catholic Church. They do not eat. They do not eat. There is only one saint, Teresa Neumann, which is a saint, a Deutsche, a German lady. He was pranic too. He didn't eat only the hostia every Thursday, and then I knew about it. I knew about it by reading the history, the story of the Catholic Church when I was a kid. But I didn't pay much attention of that. When I did pay attention to that is when I read this book. I have this book here at hand because all of you should know that when I read this book. It's in Spanish, I'm sorry, in Spanish. Autobiography of a Yogi. This was my first real contact. That happens back in 2001. When I read the book and I said, he explained here 2 or 3 cases, Baba and Teresa Neumann, who didn't eat. And I said, oh my God, there are people in India doing this. And Teresa Neumann in Germany did that. So, my God. So I got interested. It was level one. Level two. Level one, another book I read, it was all about books. I have my library here. This was my second book, the second book I read, Jazz Buhin, the grandma of us pranic people. Jazz Buhin, the Australian, wonderful, loving lady. And so Divine Nutrition, I read this book. When I read these 2 books, I knew it was possible. And when I read the book, there is plenty of information in the book. I think she wrote here everything she knew about the stuff, everything, no matter it was related or not. So it's my consultation book. It's like, for me, it's an encyclopedia of the information. So I knew it was true, and then I tried to start practicing by myself what she said there. It worked at the beginning, and then I stopped. That happened in 2009. So from 2001 to 2009, I was still level one. In 2000, then I went to the States to work as an elementary school teacher in Texas, and I came across Akahi, the Ecuadorian teacher, wonderful being. Akahi, who is teaching now how to become a Breatharian. He's got a website and blog. And then I knew about him. He's living in the States. since he's Ecuadorian, but he's living in the States. And then he talked about it, of becoming Breatharian. I took it. I took the course there when I was living in near Houston. And then it was, I think, an 8-day course, something like that. It's the name, 8-day process, he called it. And then he emphasizes the air, the breath, and the energy, you know. And I took it, and then when I took that course, I became level 2. What's level 2 according to Nicolas Pilar's? Level 2 is those who start experiencing living on prana, and it start working out, start having effects, start working, you know. And then that happens to me. I stop at all my evening meal. I reduced my lunch. I only took a fruit or something, breakfast, and that was all. That was it. Yeah. And then I start realizing that I could live, and I felt more energized, happier, lighter, younger. It was amazing. Oh my God, because I used to be a fat man back in the day. I ate a lot, and then I became this light guy. And, it was wonderful, wonderful, that experience. But that was only level 2 because I hadn't realized how possible it was to live on prana. And the level 3 for, according to Nicolas Pilars, level 3 are those who absolutely change the program, reset, and then decide to live on prana mostly, and that knew by themselves, not logically, that that they do not need solids or liquids to be alive. Mm? It's a huge step. Actually, most people say that level 2 and 1 are not really pranic. The only pranic, the first pranic is level 3 and 4. Level 3 and 4. Level 4 is those who stop eating. They may drink a tea daily, a glass of water daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. That's all. You know, that's another level. That's another level. That's a whole new level. Okay, well, now how did I became level 3? I became level 3 by taking a course. After I quit my job in Texas, I came back to Colombia. I started working here as a lawyer again. And then I realized that I needed to go on with that thing, with that program, with that process. And then I started looking for internet teachers. I tried to find the teachers that resonated with me. I searched a lot. I found about 6 or 7 serious teachers, including Akahi, including Jasmuhin, including Kirby, who is a Catholic priest from Sri Lanka. He teaches the pranic living using the Bible. It's amazing, wonderful. This is so flexible, this thing. And I came across some other guys until I find Ray Maur. And then I started looking at his videos on YouTube, and I found out that he was the guy for me because the way he explained things and the way he saw things is so similar to what I wanted to. It's not that it's different. Each one's got to pick his own teacher. There are different types. There are loving kind. It's different. So I took the one for me. It's not that this is the one for everybody or that the others are not. You have to do your research and you follow your heart. So I found out that he was gonna come here to Ecuador, Vilcabamba. Ecuador is a neighbor country to Colombia, so it's easy to me. I can take the time from the job, and I bought the tickets, got the subscription, went there. It was he called it the initiation process. He doesn't call the 10-day process, the 8-day process. He called it the initiation. It's got a meaning for that, and I like it. It's an initiation, and then I took it in Vilcabamba, wonderful place. My God, it's called the land of the elders, because for somehow the people live long there in Vilcabamba in Ecuador, South Ecuador. Okay, we went there, we took the course, and after the course, the miracle happened. I came out of the course resetted, completely reset. Food was thing of the past. No more breakfast, no more lunch, no more dinner. Those words, I have to delete them from my dictionary because I didn't use them anymore. one thing that happened to me after I finished and that confirmed the fact that I became level 3 is that I haven't felt hungry or thirsty or thirst anymore since November 2018. No more, no more. I forgot what's being hungry and what's being thirsty. If I drink something, it's because I want to, and maybe I think that I may need that, the placebo effect. Hopefully I may have time to talk about it, the placebo effect, but that's all. I even don't drink much water because the water doesn't have flavor. And then we pranic people, if we eat something level 3, I think, well, it's my case. Maybe most of them, I don't know, the others would speak by themselves. It's because of the taste, the flavor. You know, you don't need to torture yourself. You don't need that to torture. You know that, but you just drink because it's nice. Oh, I like it. I like it. For instance, I eat chocolate, sweet chocolate. I love it. I love it. Because of the taste. It's not that I need it. I don't need it. So it changes. You know what? There is a link with something I read from the Buddha. The Buddha explained this wonderfully how we became people, humans who eat. He explained that historically, there is a famous sutra, the sutra of the beginnings of the times. He explained how we came back from live beings who didn't need to eat, and we became here, human beings, because we started eating. It was wonderful. So
Yeah, but
the
I
the
have a question, Chris. Is it from a Tibetan Buddhism or from Theravada, from the Southern Buddhism? Like because in Tibetan Buddhism they have other sources, because I haven't heard
absolute
of, yeah. So it's from the
mo-
Tibetan one.
mo- more than happy to answer. And you allow me to say something about it, my personal opinion, of course. It's not from the Tibetan source. It's from the Theravada or Hinayana, the small vehicle. But by saying so, in my personal opinion, the Theravada tradition is the most pure tradition of the real teachings of the Buddha. All the others, in my personal opinion, all due respect to the Buddhists, to Mahayanis, to Tibetans, to Vajrayanas, to all of them, all the others mixed a lot of things outside of the real Buddhist doctrine. Like the Tibetans, they link it with the what do you call the
Bon religion, yeah, it's called Bon, I
Bon
think.
religion, and they got a lot of Bon things inside the Buddhist Mahayanic tradition. And then I took it from the Theravada tradition. The Sutta in Pali or the Sutra in Sanskrit is called the Sutra of the Origin of the Times. And he explained how the guilt of us being dense human beings is the food. The food is to blame for us being dense human beings, according to this Sutra of Buddha. It's really, really amazing, interesting how he explained that. So,
Yeah, I haven't heard about that. Yeah, it's very
yeah,
interesting.
very interesting. And then
Yeah.
I became level 3, and I may go, since I am talking about this, I may go through some of the questions that were sent to me related to what I'm talking now. For
Yes,
instance, they
yes,
say,
yes, yes, Chris, I'm sorry. We are going to that. We are just going to get to that just now. I just want to ask you the last question, maybe before we get to that. So, how does your food and liquid intake look like nowadays? Like on
good,
average? Tell us.
gay, gay, gay,
I
gay.
think pretty much everyone who is here now would love to hear the answer for that.
Okay, okay, exactly. Firstly, I would like to tell you that what I do is not what you should do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And what I do may not resonate to you. One golden rule in becoming pranic is hear yourself. Okay, learn from others. Yeah, 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 that's good. Yeah, they may know things, but hear your heart. Not most your mind, but your mind may tell you things that may be useful. Yeah, your heart, but more than your heart, your body, your cells. The cells of your body got the wisdom to tell you what to do and what not concerning the pranic living. Yes, it's your cells. It's your cells. They know. They know. The body is wise. You have to respect it. And then by having said so, how does it look? Okay, first of all, I don't need the food. I can't pass it through a day without drinking or eating anything. So I got, but not because I decide to, but it just happened. Some days I am dry, completely dry by myself, but naturally it happens. So I became level 4 some days. Okay, but usually I don't drink water anymore because I don't like it. It doesn't taste to anything. And I may have a shake, you know, or may have a juice, more diluted, once a day. And look at this. I gotta be honest here. Uh, I don't have lunch. I don't have that. No. But sometimes I may take some solid, like and a snack. I love snacks. I love spicy snacks. It may sound weird to you. You know, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, take it if you want it, if you like it. If not, do not take it. Okay, it's not. It's not necessarily that way. The way the things that has got to do. But I love spicy snacks. It's junk food. It's garbage. Yes, it is. It is. But I don't care. I like it. I just take it because I like it. Period. I don't need it to live. I am not nurtured for that. But I just love the way it tastes. Yeah, you know, like of yeah. And I know I'm not nurtured for that. I don't take almost anything for that. Even maybe bad things, but my body processes them. So what I do, you wouldn't believe. A shake, maybe a juice, maybe a soda. Mm, the terrible soda, you know, the poison. I poison me with soda. I'm sorry, I'm being okay. The soda. I love this soda, all full of gas and with apple flavor. I love it. So I take it maybe once a day, and once in a while a soup. Might be a dense soup or maybe a what do you call that? A broth, broth. Maybe once a day, once every 2 days, once every 3 days, and uh, and that's it. That's it. When I am with my family, I may have food. Whenever we celebrate Christmas, birthday, Father's Day, sort of. So it's about 5 times a year I take a food, but I don't take that big food as I used to. Maybe a soup, maybe a ramen. I love ramen. Ah, it's wonderful, and or some kind of biotic food. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Something I love it, and I'm not willing to let is the coffee. I love coffee. I'm Colombian. My God, here we have the best coffee in the world. So I love coffee and I drink coffee every day. That's something I do, and I don't mind. You may I don't feel guilty about that. I know I'm a pranic being. I live on prana. I can take whatever I want. I don't need it. I can leave it too. I can live
Great.
without coffee. And then by saying so, just to close it, is one thing. One thing. Why I do that? But that's my diet. It's almost nothing. Why I do that? Why I do that? Because I have figured out that I live directly from prana uh, about a 90% by nurturing what I nurture daily on a 90% from prana. A 3% from emotions, words, uh, thoughts, energies. 3%. 1%. Well, I'm going to become an engineer. I think on those concepts, an unknown factor, the X factor, 1%, unknown factor. And as to the rest, the 6%, it's solids and liquids. It's
Mm,
a very few percentage of all my intake. So it doesn't matter what I do with this 6%, does it? It's not that important. It's not a big deal. So
absolutely.
that's why you don't see that I eat healthy. I eat very sophisticated. I don't care about
Mhm.
it, and not even the word. Not that. So that's my personal opinion, with all due respect. But that has helped me to something to set me free from food because I don't care about the food. I don't care. I don't care what I eat or what I don't eat. I don't have to do this huge, beautiful preparation to the. No, I don't. I'm not a slave to that anymore. I'm free for that. That's because I became pranic to do whatever I want to be free.
Amazing.
Okay, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for being
Thank you
honest.
for asking.
Yeah,
Thank you for
Chris,
asking.
I'm just curious. For example, you mentioned drinking coffee. Now, would you say, with whole honesty, so for example, if you quit coffee, you wouldn't feel any discomfort at all being pranic, or you would feel some kind of caffeine addiction? I'm just curious because I like coffee as well. So but I'm not pranic. So yeah.
I gotta answer you so candidly the way I see this face. Eric, you decide. It's your choice.
Yeah, I know, but
If
in your case,
if you feel, allow me to close it. If you feel that the coffee is gonna harm you, it will, no doubt. You know what? I decided that I like coffee. I have good time drinking coffee, and then I decided that coffee is not gonna harm me at all anymore. And
yeah.
then
So
I drink coffee, and nothing happens to me while drinking coffee. But but if I dare to eat or drink other stuff I am not used to, okay, I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna feel it. You know what? As my Nicholas said, uh, eating and drinking is like being on drugs. You know, the food is a drug. The food is a drug. And then when you take food different to those I have decided I would like to, I just mentioned them. As I take the other ones, I start feeling light, if feeling, like if I had a small pot or something, and I start feeling the effect of this drug, which is called food. So I do feel that. And sometimes, let me see, there is one particular thing I ate years ago or months ago, some particular Colombian food, which is called empanada. I ate that, and it really, I was really in a bad. I was really in trouble the next day because I ate that. So there are some things that are not for you. You decide what and what not. But most of the, from this point of view, most of the food,
yeah,
if we are planning, can be considered a drug. So take it
yeah,
as a drug. The effect is the
yeah.
same.
Absolutely. No, I just asked before. I did not ask whether coffee is harmful or not. That was not the question. I was because coffee has caffeine, which is an addictive substance.
Um,
For example, I know about myself. If I quit coffee now, I will feel discomfort the next day or 2 days from now, like until I get rid of that. Now, in your case, as a pranic being, if you quit coffee completely right now, would you feel
ah,
discomfort for a few days or not? That was the question.
no,
Not at all.
no,
Even
no,
though it has some addictive qualities, even though you wouldn't have anything.
no.
Very
I
interesting.
have, whenever I want, I have. For instance, today is what? Is 1 p.m. here. I haven't drank a coffee today. I may
Mm,
not. I may do. So I don't depend on that. No, I don't depend on food. That's the miracle. That's the good thing of this. I
amazing.
cannot eat. I cannot eat. Food is not a problem for me anymore. Nor if I eat it or if I don't. In both cases, it's not a problem. Not anymore.
Mm,
It's not big deal. It's not big deal. Either I eat or not. So
yes.
I don't need the coffee if I don't drink that. Yeah. Supposedly I go to a desert, nothing to eat. I will live perfectly well. I'm sure.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, Chris, that was fascinating so far. And now let's get to our chat questions. You can just read it if you don't mind from there and just address them. And then if we have time, we will also open our microphones for the people who are present to ask.
All right. Yeah. Sure. I would like also to address some of the questions that were sent to the WhatsApp. So I may think I'm doing one this, one there, one this, because there are wonderful questions here. Huh? I
Great
would love to
idea.
answer them. Yeah.
Yes, actually, what I meant. That's actually what I meant when I said chat. I meant WhatsApp questions. But you decide which ratio you would like to
Okay,
do. Yeah.
I'm gonna start answer them, and from the people who want to talk. The first one I'm gonna answer from the chat, from the WhatsApp chat, just
Yes.
about breathing techniques. This one, the first question that was asked in the WhatsApp chat, and the question was about if there is a calming breathing exercise to release anxiety and even to focus or concentrate on things to do. Well, there is of course. Actually, thanks for the question. Very good question. Actually, breathing, breathing is the best way to calm yourself, because when you are not calm, your breath changes, the pattern of your breath changes, it gets agitated. If you consciously, because it's the only thing you can handle consciously and unconsciously, the breath. And then when you consciously take over it, take control of it, and start calming it, your whole body calms. Then the best technique I recommend, there are many, there are plenty, all of them are good. One I have practiced for years and has helped me a lot is the Anapana technique, which is a Buddhist technique. And the Anapana technique is not just to change your breath as the pranayama do, the yogi pranayama do. No, it's just to observe. And then you just observe your breath entering, letting out, in, out. You do not try to change the breath, just the breath as it is. And then you focus on the sensations inside your nostrils and just your nostrils. Maybe you may feel that when it comes in, it's cold. When it goes out, it's a little warmer, a little bit warmer, and that's it. By doing so, I mean, several minutes, your mind relaxed, relax. And when you are used to that, everything works out beautifully. As to focusing on the study thing, that's another story. That's another story. When you do a thing, you have to focus on what you are doing, no matter what it is, the material world and you have to focus on that. But if you have practiced enough Anapana, your mind will be ready to focus on whatever you are doing. I hope I have answered this question. Is there a question in the online now?
Yeah,
this is my first.
Yes, guys. So if you posted your questions on WhatsApp and you are here, then it's better that you just unmute yourself and ask your question. It's going to be much more live and you can emphasize exactly the details you would like to know according to what Chris has just said. So maybe you could change your question a little bit according to that. For example, Ravital had some questions she posted, and other people as well. So guys, just unmute yourself and ask. Hey, Kelly.
Hello.
Hey, Kelly. Hey, how are you doing?
Great. So good to see you. Thanks so much.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I sent a bunch of questions, so let me pull up the list. But one of them was, and I think I was thinking of Babaji when you mentioned him, but do you feel like this chronic experience has actually resulted in a stopping or even a reversal of the aging process? Or have you experienced any other quote unquote miracles or healings? And I'm also thinking of what's shared in Autobiography of a Yogi as well, because there's some really mystical stories.
Oh yes, thank you, Kelly, for the answer. Nice to see you, and thank you for asking that. Allow me to talk about it. Okay, well, by becoming pranic, even level 2, definitely the effects. You can see the effects immediately in terms of health and feeling great, strength, and slowing your aging process. I'm sure about it. It slows your aging process. It doesn't stop it. It doesn't stop it. It doesn't per se reverse it. Per se, no. With other factors, it may, but other factors, other practices. By itself, not necessarily. You need to do something else to reverse the aging process. And this is a taboo, becoming immoral. But that's another story. But completely different. But you can reverse, you can stop and slow the process, which is wonderful, wonderful. You are full of energy. You got no diseases, and you are 60, say I'm 70, 80, whatever. I don't know. You know. And then as to the medical part, I hope I have answered that part. As to the medical parts in terms of health, yes. Maybe I have adapt to that other practices, something I have brought from somewhere else, but in a way you can learn to heal yourself, you know. And I have done that with me myself several, well, a bunch of times. Things that if I go to the doctor and I tell him, oh, well, yes, he stuck me with a lot of drugs, medicines, treatments, but when I do that by myself, okay, I'm not telling that you are not gonna go to the medical doctor. They help you, they may save you, right? But you may learn when to go, when not to. And then miracles have happened. Many things I have healed myself from, because it was supposed, according to the traditional doctrine, that when you get old, and I'm 60 now, then you start feeling the knees, pain in the knees, sciatic, and your hair start, whatever. And then since you buy that, you start feeling that thing. And actually, I have started feeling pain in my knees years ago. And I said, my God, I'm just buying this story, the traditional, the official story. I don't want that. That's not for me. I don't buy it. I don't sign that. I didn't sign that contract, so I don't buy. And then I start focusing on healing myself. Not anymore. Vanish in 2 weeks. 2 weeks period, they vanish. No more pains on the knees and some other things. And then what happened is this: you are a complex structure, a very complex structure. I think I'm getting out of battery here, so I'm gonna plug in. Sorry, be right back and keep finish answering it.
Yeah, guys. So we had few people who raised their hand. You can just turn your cameras on because you're gonna be the next. I think Lori's gonna be the next, and then Ru, and then guys, just raise your hand.
Yes.
Here
Plugged
in the
in.
Zoom.
Plug in. I'm plugging to the electrical current here and plugging to the prana, which is coming from hours all the time. Okay, those are the miracles that I have experienced. So yes, indeed, it is possible. You have to mix it with some other stuff, you know, the way to heal. I have read, actually, I have this at hand here in Spanish. I'm sorry, Spanish. Instant healing.
Yep. Okay.
Maybe you have heard about this guy. Original book is in English. Instant healing, Hawaiian healing. They say that you can heal immediately if you want to. I don't doubt about it. It has happened to me.
I've experienced that. Literally broke a bone and then dealt with it for 4 hours and then realized, oh wait, there's something I can do about this. Let's see. And then literally instantaneous healing. So it's possible.
It's possible, yeah, definitely. And one thing I was saying before I plugged in the computer is that even the Buddha himself, he teaches that. The Buddha said that it may take 7 days for you to heal if you are aware of it. That's what the Buddha talked. The yogis, Aurobindo and Mataji also talked. They had a book of yoga and healing. I bought a book there in Pondicherry, where is their marvelous ashram, and she explained that. You decide if you get sick or not.
Yeah.
Even if you are aware, you may notice when the disease is coming. And you said, okay, no, you are not welcome here, go away. And the disease instantly go away. But if you allow it in, you still have a chance to get away of it at that moment. If you don't do that, you have about 3 days to get rid of that. If not, you have 7 days. If you do not, then you're in trouble.
Yes. That's literally the progression I've experienced as well.
But you can manage that. And why do diseases happen? Because the human body is so complex. The human disease is so complex. There are many factors you don't even notice. Not even the Buddha. The Buddha, he didn't knew that this disease were coming. When the disease came, He found out the disease and he found out the causes and he cured himself in 7 days. Yeah, he did that, but even he is so complex, so many factors, so many karma, so many things that you don't know when they are coming. You try to keep healthy, but sometimes they may surprise you, but you have the tools to do so, to heal yourself. I hope I have answered your question, Kelly.
Yeah, well, noticing with chronic living, you're so much more in tune with your body that you see these things sooner versus if you're not, you don't see the warning signs. So this actually ties into my second question about you've commented in the past privately about the ease of manifestations. So I didn't know if you could shed any more light on that, especially in connection with chronic living.
Okay, it's good. Well, the pranic living, to answer your question, dear Kelly, pranic living is not a process, it's not a method, it's not a technique, it's not an exercise. Pranic living is a way of living, it's a state of yourself, of your being. By having said so, if that is a state of your being, your way of being, it deals with everything because being a pranic helps you to do a lot of other stuff, even miracles, you know, even miracles. So it adds up to the other stuff, you know. So you may do law attraction, you may do decrease, you may do chaos magic, which I love. It's wonderful, the chaos magic. Everything you can do, a lot of stuff. Prana helps you to achieve that. So everything you do, which is good, if you're a prana being, is boosted by the prana, definitively. So, having said so, yes, manifestation it boosts, but because you are also doing so, it may shorten the period of time in which things manifest, but sometimes it became instantly. That depends on your conviction and your intention. You know, the intention comes out from the thymus here. So when you project your intention on purpose, it became manifest. But that's another story. That's something else.
Well, something you said earlier, I did a meditation just before this with a couple of people, and the last segment of it, I saw what I'm now calling the soul flame coming back in, and it connected with something you were talking about later. So I need to explore that more, but I was like, okay, divine synchronicity. So thank you, Ark. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely,
Thank you for
Kelly.
your questions.
Thank you for asking. Lori, you were the next one who raised your hand. If
Hi.
you could,
Hi.
would you turn your camera on if you don't mind? You don't have to. Yeah.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, Lori. How you doing?
Hi, Chris. Hi, Chris. Hi. I wanted to first say that I loved hearing you, and I've yeah, I really agree with so many things. I've been to many pranic initiation or whatever you want to call it. You know, I did Akai Eyes online. I did Ray Maor like 3 times. I don't know if you know, familiar with Ellie Tom as well. You know Ellie Tom? Yeah, and his retreat, I went on his, and I've felt this way for so many years. Like I always used to think, I wish there was a pill I could take and not have to eat. You know, I used to think that way, but also because I had food addiction. So as you had the alcohol addiction, I had food addiction, which is to me like the hardest thing ever because we are taught we have to eat. Obviously, we have to deal with it all the time. And I also felt the same way. Like I don't like water. They always tell you drink so much water. And I also don't sleep. So this whole path about breatharian is so like perfect for me. And I've been trying for years, and I succeed a little bit. Like I go on these retreats, and then I do so well, and they even measure the prana, and I was living on prana, even like you said, it doesn't. And I also used to eat crap and then go right to raw foods or right to this. Like I didn't do transition. Not that I say it's bad, but for me also, I couldn't do that. So anyway, it's very interesting. But my thing is, I guess I'm just asking maybe if you have any tips, but I know it's probably just not my time. I don't know why, because for years, like I said, I've been wanting to do this. I think it's the most wonderful thing in the world to be free of not having to have any intake. And not only that, it's like you don't even have to worry about going to the bathroom because I pee so much now. Like I pee every half an hour when I'm eating fruit or juices, or even when I don't. It doesn't matter. I have some issue. But if I was, living on prana and not even having dry days, it's already better, so I've done that for throughout the years now, and lately, every time I break it though, I go back to eating like cuckoo. Then I start my food addictions and back in again. I don't feel so food addicted now, but yet it's hurting me. Like the food is hurting my hands, my joints, I have so much inflammation, and I want to go back to being pranic and doing that lifestyle. And normally I always thought I have to go away now to do it because I can't do it at home or with your regular work schedule, and with my husband cooking every minute, I haven't been able to begin again. I don't know if you have any tips. I mean, I don't understand why I'm not doing it, because I'm so into it, and so I understand it. I'm not afraid of it. I I love the fact that we don't have to eat to live. It's just amazing, and it's fantastic. Um, I just can't seem to get there, even though I've tried all these things. Was there another? Oh yeah. So there's that. If you have any comments on that, but also, when I did Raymond Orr's retreat too, I kind of still understand this now, but I always learned about natural hygiene and raw food since I was 18, because I had migraines for my whole life. I've had migraines now still, and so I went into eating raw foods and did that whole lifestyle, but then kept going back to cook food. So back and forth, right? And and it was just not so good, right? But now when you're pranic, I guess your body just takes care of it, is what I think Ray says. Because I always thought, why don't you guys eat healthy if you eat like isn't it acidic, like the coffee and all the things, that don't they ruin your teeth, and like, don't they have some effects, some type of toxic effects on the body? But I guess and maybe you could just tell me if that's true. So basically, because you're pranic and you're not intaking much, your body just takes care of it. It's not no big deal. Is that, and then I love that idea too, that you could just eat what you want and not have to eat fruit that's not so good all the time, because fruit is not always good. Like sometimes it's delicious, and sometimes you have a pineapple, not so good, and then what do you do? Like, that's my problem. I buy fruit, so much fruit, and then I'm like, yesterday I had mangoes. I said, okay, I'm gonna have just fruit for a while. And then I had 2 mangoes, and I was like, ugh, I'm not satisfied. It wasn't good. They weren't sweet. They weren't good. And I'm like, now what? Now I want a croissant and coffee or something. I don't know. So anyway, but now I really want to get back to the lifestyle without having to go on a retreat, which helps me when I go on a retreat. But I've been there, done that, and I wanted to be able to do it by myself, and I can't seem to start. And also, any tips on, like, the only thing, I don't know, did you ever detox, or you didn't have any bad, like when you stopped from eating meat and ate and then change, you didn't have any problems, like as far as, I get migraines when I detox. I get migraines when I'm eating bad food and when I'm eating good food at the beginning. So
Okay, thank you, Laurie. Very honest sharing. Appreciate it from the heart, and I receive it the way you said it, and I understand perfectly well. There are a couple of things you raised there. One, I'm gonna start for the last one, detox. Okay, I've been doing detox on a technical regular basis. Before doing that, I went to the colon cleansing and all that stuff, and then that helped me to start being clean. And when I changed to a pranic way of living, I was already kind of clean. If
okay.
so, then I didn't have these huge effects I know others have had. When the cleansing process happens, and it's normal, it's natural, it has to happen. It's like emotions and thoughts, it's the same thing. So it's normal.
But did
I
you
didn't I, I
go
didn't
when you
experience that.
cleansed? I'm sorry. I just want to know, when you said that, now you're eating this type of stuff, but when you did do the cleansing, did you go on a raw food diet? Did you go on like liquids only, or just fruit only when you started cleansing at the beginning before you became prana, you're saying, or no?
Yeah,
Is that what
we
you're
are
saying?
talking we are talking about back in the day. Really back. It all started in 1995. It's a long story. So I start doing some kind of cleansings, colon cleansings, trying to eat a little bit more healthy, not too much
Meat.
flours, meat,
Mm-hmm.
sugars, and all that stuff. And gradually I became. Then I do the cleansing, and I found these huge cleansings with ozono cleansings and all that stuff. So I was trying to keep me clean. So I did that. Once in a while I did a fast. At the time I did fasting. Now I don't fast anymore. No, I just don't eat
Mm-hmm.
food,
Mm-hmm.
solids and liquids. At the time I did the fast with the grape juice, grape juice. 1 day, 2 days only grape juice with milk at the middle of the day. That's all. And I kind of looked my way to detox. And then when I went to the pranic stuff, I was kind of clean, sort of, because I was still eating. But that happens. And I wanted to talk about the first thing, which is interesting and really important to that. Thank you for have mentioned that. Is about you came back to eat a lot after you stop. And you know what? I'm gonna answer you from the point of view of pranic being, believing in prana, but also, if I may, with all due respect, from the point of view of an alcoholic, because I am an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds to me like an addiction, definitively.
Yeah.
As I am addicted to alcohol, I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I am addicted. That drink is gonna poison me in the end. It's gonna kill me. No doubt about it. I'm gonna be killed by alcohol if I drink alcohol. That's the point. That's the point. I'm sure that the alcohol is not good for me at all. I'm sure. I have no doubt. Maybe, with all due respect, maybe, Laurie, you think that the food is good for you still.
No.
Something inside you is telling you, inside your programming of your body, something inside your being leads you to keep eating after you stop. For some reason,
It's
you
like the
cannot stop.
taste. You talk about the taste, right? When you eat it, you just like it. It's and that's nice. But and that's my issue is that I feel like when I eat it, and I love the taste of the crappy foods, not really the good foods, right? And I love the taste. I like like my husband made pasta. He's Italian, and he makes this every day. He makes the best stuff. And I just took a bite. I was thinking I'll take 1 or 2 bites, and then I take 1 or 2 bites, and I'm like, tastes so good. And then I want more. But it's like, why do I'm addicted to the taste of it? Like, why am I so addicted? And I know when I eat it, it's gonna build up, and then I'm gonna want more and more, and the next day I'm gonna want, and I don't want that. I don't want it. I want to stop, but I'm so addicted that I can't stop is what it is. And you're saying something in me still feels that I need the food or want the food or need the food. You're saying, is that what you're saying?
In a way, well, I only can talk from my experience, from my own experience, my personal experience. And my personal experience after I took the initiation process with Ray, I knew by heart that I didn't need that anymore, and that I do not depend on that anymore. And if I feel like it's for the sake of the taste, but not because I've been nurturing for that. Do you know what? Something that has happened to me, I'm talking about my own experience, that may be helpful, maybe not, is that at the beginning, when I left the course, I had to deal with the war. And by dealing with the war, I had to, whenever I faced the feeling like eating something, before actually eating it, I asked myself, do I need it? Do I need it? The answer immediately came to me, no, you don't. And then I asked, why then I'm wanting to eat this? I asked not my mind, not my heart, my cells, the cells of my body. And they said, because there is something happening in your mind, in your life, in your heart, that you think you don't want that to happen. You don't want the sensation that it produces inside you, which is suffer, which is not good. And then you want to compensate that bad feeling with something good. And the only good thing that comes up to your mind, since I am not an alcoholic anymore, is not alcohol. Yeah. It may be sex or it may be food. And since if sex is not available, then I take the food. And when I take the food, I start feeling this pleasant sensation that suppresses totally the suffering sensation, because I have fought with my brother, with my parent, I have that debts, etc., all the problems I have. So I found out that at that point, for me, it's a way to compensate something I didn't like for something I like, to change a suffering sensation for a pleasant sensation. I hope that's helpful. I'm sorry, I wouldn't help you more with my answers.
Yeah, no,
But thank
that's
you for
so
asking
good.
that.
I just quickly want to ask you, how many days have you gone totally dry with no water or food? I know we do the 10, like we do the initiation, and you do a few, whatever. Usually it's 4 days with Ray, like 3.5, 4 days. But just out of curiosity, like out of like continuously, how many days would you have gone without food or water?
Dry 4 days, the most.
4 days. Okay.
I know I can go more beyond that, but I don't need to. I don't need to. I know pranic, and I noticed that not the cases of the people I know, but some people may take that as a challenge to show himself and others that they can do that, and they go 7 days, 10 days. So I don't need to show anything because I know I'm pranic. So I just do that 4 days just to remember me that I am a pranic. And when things are appropriate and come in place, I may become totally dry. But that will happen naturally. I don't force it, and I don't need to.
Right. I totally get that.
Okay.
Are you going to go to the Pranic Festival in Italy this year?
I was invited. Hopefully next year. Not this year. This year I got a lot of things here in my plate, but maybe the next year I will go there. I would love to. I never been there yet.
Yeah,
Okay,
me neither.
guys.
I want to go.
So
thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lori. Thank you so much for your honesty. Okay, Ru, you are the next, and Revital, you are the next one after Ru. So Ru, please ask your question. You don't need to turn your camera on. You can ask your question.
Thank you so much. That was amazing, Chris. Beautiful talk. Really inspiring. I have 3 questions, and I also have. I wonder how you would have answered somebody else's in the WhatsApp. So there's essentially 4 questions, but I'll be quick. The first one, when you mentioned about coffee, and I'm paraphrasing now, but you said that you don't give it any meaning. So, you probably didn't say it like that, but that it doesn't affect you because you've decided that it's not going to affect you. I wondered if that would be true of things like with sugar and carbs, because a lot of people aim to eliminate those things in the fasting lifestyle to facilitate autophagy or, facilitate health. And I just wondered if the guilt that they're imposing upon themselves is more destructive than the substance itself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wonderful question. My God. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, it's a wonderful question. It's delicate to answer it, I think, because what works for a person may not work for the other. If a person thinks something's gonna work, it will work. If you change the things drastically, it may not work neither of them, so it's difficult to answer in a general way, in a strict way. For some people, it may help them to start doing this stuff and worrying about not taking that sugar, not taking milk, that. It may work. It's the way their minds need to do the thing. for others may not be necessary at all, you know, and even for others may be an obstacle, as you mentioned. Yeah. So what I'm saying, dear Ro, is that there is not a definite answer. That depends on the person, you know, on the person. For some it may, for some it may not. Yeah. I hope I have it cleared. Yeah.
Okay.
Not in
Thank
general.
you.
We cannot say that in general. If we take away the placebo from a person who's healing using the placebo, he'll die. She'll die. My God, we are not allowed to do so.
So
I said everything there.
I mean, so perhaps, you know, the coffee, the sugar, the carbs is the placebo, but it's serving an effect that it's serving them for now until they go through some deeper healing, whether that's physical, emotional, spiritual, and then they'll maybe loosen the grip or the need for that placebo. Maybe for now, maybe it's something that they need, you know. That's interesting.
Thank you. Very interesting. In my opinion, in general, but going far beyond there, if we, do you hear me? I think I got rid of. Okay.
No, I can hear you.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good. Then if we go beyond everything we are doing now, in many years ago, we can say that the goal is to get rid of all cravings when we became enlightened. Until then, we are gonna have one on another craving, and we are gonna have to learn how to deal with that. For instance, in the Buddhist tradition, it's taught that the goddess, the gods, the goddesses even have cravings. They crave for existence until they get rid of that and then got enlightenment. If they got cravings, we simple humans, imagine that. So we're going to expect to have cravings our entire life, and we're going to have to learn how to handle that, being pranics or whatever we have chosen to.
Beautiful answer. Thank you. My other question was, it's this hectic lifestyle. You're a lawyer. You've been an elementary teacher. I'm in education, and it's so stressful, and it can be so easy to, you know, eat in a very stressful state. And I think you kind of alluded to this in your answer to the previous speaker, Laurie, sorry, about replacing a sensation or a pleasurable feeling to replace a not so pleasurable feeling. And I think that's what happens in eating in a stressed state. And I just wondered, from a pranic lifestyle, what would you replace that stressed feeling with instead of eating and stress eating?
Yes, definitely. Great question. Thank you, Ro. Thank you, Ro. Great question. Yes, definitely. The worst, not in the sense that I have dealt with children. I love children. They love me. Has been a very tough time when I was an elementary school teacher. I didn't sleep, but not because I was praying, because I wasn't at the time. I didn't sleep because I had too much work to do that I could only sleep 2 hours a day by being an elementary school teacher. That was awful. And how did I handle that? Yes, exactly. First thing I did, that's my case, it worked for me. Hope it's helpful for others. I was aware that the feeling like eating is because of that situation. First thing, once I was aware of that, I put that outside of my system, and I could see that in a more neutral way. And then I knew that I had to replace that need for compensation from something else. And I found a couple of things like meditation, like Vipassana. Vipassana has helped me a lot for that. And breathing exercises as explained by Akahi. Akahi has got about 7 kind of exercises. Akahi is a Breatharian, is a pranic and Breatharian. He focuses very much on the air and the need of breath. And I use those. The psychologists call them the hyperventilation. Have you heard about it? Hyperventilation. Yes. What this gentleman from Australia does. And then it has helped me a lot because it impregnates the cells of my body with oxygen. So much oxygen that sometimes I didn't even feel like breathing. I was full again, and I didn't need the food. Those exercises and the crisis moments, those were crises. And the crisis moment helped me a lot, very much.
Brilliant. Actually, that leads to my next question about pranic living, breatharian, and sun gazing. And I'm in the UK, and we're in our summer, but majority of the year it can be really cold here. So I just wondered, how does this pranic living / breatharian compare to sun gazing? Because sometimes we don't have the sun to gaze at. I mean, is it literally staring at the sun, which is not really recommended, I don't know, but how does the sun gazing aspect come into this? I don't know.
Excellent question, and I really appreciate you mentioned that, because that was something I have missed in my chat, in my speech. It's about my concept of pranic being or pranic living related to other ways of getting the nurturing, and I'm going to explain that in that way. Well, I'm going to answer the question to start, and then I explain why. You don't need it. You do not need the sun. You do not need sun gazing to live on prana. No, you don't. All right. Having said so, I got to explain why. Because for me, the air, the breath, the solids, the liquids, the good thinking, etc., the good emotions, the yantras, the mantras, all those are placebos, are ways in that you persuade yourself you are going to get nurtured. If they are not, oh my God, you don't get nurtured because you think the nurture is happening because of these things. Is what the shamans got a beautiful name for that. Is where you focus your energy. You focus your energy. They use talismans and a lot of stuff and all that to focus the energy. They don't need to, but they choose to. It's their preference. So the same thing. People, 99.99% of the people, because they were taught that, they choose to nurture through solids and liquids. Some others choose to stop that because they realize it's possible to turn on other engine, and they say air, and do air exercises. But some of them say, no, it's the sun, it's the light. Let's go. We are light beings. We are sun gazers, and they start looking at the sun and see the violet and the yellows and all that, those beautiful colors. And they say, when I see the colors, the violet, I'm being nurtured by the sun. It's true. For them, it's true. Whether you say yes, whether you say no, if you say so, it's true. And then that's what happened. For me, and that's what I love from the approach of Ray Maor, is that you don't need anything. All of these things are placebos. And if you get to know how to bring that energy, that prana directly, as I do to you, you don't need anything else. You don't need anything else, not even some cases,
Amen. I love it. Amen.
Thank you. And then that leads me to something I wanted to refer. It's related to another question here. It's about, how do you learn to bring the prana to your life? How? And there is a beautiful question here. Do you need a teacher? Can you do it by yourself? Yeah. Okay. That's a good question, because that depends on the individual. But there is a do me rule, a default, which is the safest place, the default. I'm going to answer to this question with the default. The default. That means that there may be exceptions, as there are. But if you are an exception, you will know. You don't need to ask. So you will know by yourself. But the default is, my answer is yes. You need a teacher. Yes. You need a guide. Yes. You need a retreat in a controlled environment. Yes, you do. You cannot do that by yourself. If you do that, you are at your own risk, because this is not a game. This is serious stuff. This is serious stuff. Not eating, my God, not eating, not drink it. This is serious stuff. You know, we have talked to do otherwise. So you better do that in a controlled environment. What are the benefits and why? Why do you need a controlled environment? First, it's control. First, there is someone else guiding you. You are in trouble. They are going to help you. You know, they are going to take you out of that. If you need to go to the doctor, they will take you to the doctor. If you are alone, as has happened with this 21-day process, you remember? A lady go outside, went alone, and she died there because it was nobody looking at her, taking care of her. So you're in a controlled environment. You know, it doesn't need to be that long anymore. So it can be 10 days as race, 8 days as psychologist. And then the most important part, not only you're in a controlled environment, you are isolated, you are protected, and you are guided, but this is the main thing. You are being initiated. Initiated. What does that mean? That I have a shamanic explanation for this. The will of the teacher is conveyed, transmitted to you. You need that. It's a matter of energy transmission. The Indians, the Hindus know that very well. They know that if you need to learn a mantra, you need to be transmitted directly because it's not the sound itself, it's the energy. So what the teachers do in a retreat, no day or not, they are transmitting the volition, the will. The shamans call that the intention. If you get the intention, that's why it works. That's why it works. And you are in a safe harbor. You are safe. So that's my answer to that question. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ru. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Ru. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to plug in the headphones because they get rid of battery.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Yeah, we can hear. I think the quality of the sound is less good, but let's see. Okay, Revital, so you...
It's not that good because it got right out of battery, so sorry.
Yeah, okay. We'll see. I'll tell you if the quality is not the best. I'll tell you. Okay.
Hi.
Okay. Hey, Revital.
Hi, good evening.
Revital, how are you doing?
It's fascinating listening to you. I mean,
thank you. Thank you.
Inspiring. Some of my questions I realized were answered already, but still, you know, the whole thing is fascinating because nobody teaches you all these secrets and wisdom and all that. And the thing is, we learn it ourselves by you know, experimenting, by getting inspired by other people. So like I think I've missed something. I'm just trying to make sure. You said 90% you live on prana, 7% juice, and 3% emotions, right?
6% solids and fruits, solids and liquids, and 3% energies, and 1% an unknown factor, the X factor. It's an estimate, but I'm living mostly on prana. That's an important message. Mostly on prana, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I'm just looking at my questions. So you answered some of it. I mean, what is your diet? I mean, about raw veganism, you said you don't need to go through these stages, but just you just skipped it.
Of course.
And the cravings, you said something about breathing in order to fill yourself with oxygen, and then you feel filled up and you don't need anything else. Is that
yeah.
your trick? Yeah, I think yeah, I also have the feeling, yeah, I've also been initiated by Ray Mail, and I also feel that a lot of it is, you know, sometimes I'm just distracted by other things and I just don't eat, but it's a lot about I've realized it's a lot about cravings and addictions and emotional things like like it's been, food has been with us for so many years. It's like we're conditioned, and like we turn to it when we feel bad or feel, you know, feel bad or want to feel secure or feel insecure, and you need the heaviness. But you know, as I more and more into it, I feel I need it. You know, it's a gradual process. Sometimes there are jumps, but it's like little by little. I mean, after so many years of addiction and conditioning and all that, you know, you just can't change it all at once. It's a physical, emotional. So I'm trying to see what so about detoxification. You fully detoxed, and like you don't have all these issues in the modern life like constipation and dehydration and
Yes.
just
Fortunately,
because,
no.
just because yeah, you get to this point you're saying where you're fully detoxed. You don't.
Well, I don't know. I may have some toxins over there. I'm living still in the war, but mostly of them, I have got rid of them. I think I feel that. I feel that.
So could you are there things that you can talk about? You felt the like health benefits of being the things that you reversed. You feel like you reversed, and how many years has it taken? Like,
Okay, well, the reversal of things of you mean diseases, conditions, things like that. Well, actually, what has happened to me recently, or not recently, since years, and particularly after I became a pranic being, is that the diseases do not last long if they appear. And when they appear, they do not last longer than 7 days, a week, something like that, no matter where they are. Uh, I guess one of them, but that was before it took 2 weeks. I was working something at the time, working for me, but being pranic, it has been wonderful. Huge, huge jump, huge step forward in terms of health. And then everything has changed dramatically for the good. If I answer your question, have answered your question, Ravita.
yeah. I've got an issue. Like I've got osteoporosis, and I know it's because of toxicity in the body, and that the body is leaching the calcium and dehydration deficiencies and all that. Do you have to go full to be full 100% Breatharian to deal with it?
All right, that is a question. That is the question, because my personal opinion is that you gotta be careful. You got things, you got conditions, things, you better take care of them before deciding going on to the holy pranic living, because it may cause trouble to you, I think. So you better try to deal this gradually until you get rid of them in a satisfactory range or level, and then jump into the pranic, 100% pranic state. It's my recommendation. Don't jump into it, because if you got things, your body may not be that strong to deal with the handling of the pranic energy directly, and your body may be fighting with the disease or with the things that are happening to you, and that is not ready to, if I may, any sense about this. So you better before take care of that, and then when you feel ready, go and jump to the pranic stuff. It's not that it's not possible, but it's that you have to do it gradually and carefully, and with what we shamans call impeccability. You gotta be impeccable. Impeccability means taking care of yourself too, and by any means possible. If I answer your question, dear Ravita.
Yeah, another thing, everybody's talking about the kidneys filtering. I don't think my kidneys are filtering. So all these conditions, do you get to reverse all these dehydration and kidneys not filtering. And I personally, I feel great, but you know, because I've got these things, it's not like I wait till everything collapses, but you know, I'm doing it mainly for healing and
okay. Allow me to answer this way, dear Ravito. Is that okay? You had these issues before starting the pranic thing. The causes are different. The causes came from somewhere else. I would strongly recommend you to find those causes, deal with them, and after you deal with them, the healing will happen naturally. You know. Okay, there are some specialists that says that fasting will help you to heal. Okay, I'm not familiar with the stuff, with the methods, so it's better talking to them if that works to see how that works. But in my personal opinion, whenever you got something like the kidney stuff, for instance, is because the kidneys are sending you a message. They are not working for something. You know, we are all energy, and the energy, every organ of the body has a function, but because we told them to do that, it's information, just information. Energy organized according to information. It's a program. And then if the program of the kidneys are not working properly, it's because of something in the programmer, you know. Then you gotta check the program and see where is the problem with the program. And once you check it, the kidneys will heal themselves, you know. And then there is a message there. Something is telling you them. Something you are not filtering. Something in your life you didn't want since a little kid. Maybe you don't remember a little girl. And then after you deal with that, you are in better shape to face a whole pranic style. You know. That's my recommendation, dear Rita. I hope I have answered your question or addressed it.
You mean
the rest of my ways.
You mean traumas, childhood traumas and stuff like that to work on it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, trauma is a part of huge deal of that. You know, if you haven't handled that, the trauma came to your life to teach you something, as I came to mine, you know, and I have learned so far. I may have not learned some of it. That's why I may have some issues still, you know. I have this skin issue, for instance. I have vitiligo. And something is there, you know. It has happened to me at 10 years ago, and it's helping me to learn things, but it's still there. So I'm still learning. So it's a process. Patience, you know, the only battle that you lose is the one you abandon. So
I
stick
didn't
on
get
it.
it.
Yeah.
What did you? Could you repeat that? What did you say?
Oh yes, the only battle you lose is the one you abandon. So keep on going. Yeah, stick to it.
Yeah, I get it that there's
never give up. Never give up.
a lot of psychological, a lot of psychology. It's a lot about psychology and perspective and not.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay. So thank you for your inspiration. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your questions, for being here. Thank you, Ravita.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ravita. Okay, guys, so we have crossed 2 hours. We are about 2 hours and 15 minutes into the webinar. Chris, let's just address briefly the questions that we got in the chat on WhatsApp. And I think we'll wrap it up for today. And if we might talk about another one about the continuation, because we can talk, you know, endlessly about those subjects. They're fascinating. So, yeah, you can just, but, you know, Chris, there is some music coming in the background. Is it from you? Because I thought it was from Revital and I muted her, but it didn't help. Maybe it was from, maybe it's from your window.
It's mine. It's mine. I am sorry. It's mine. I'm going to turn it off now.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Done.
Yeah, cool.
It was me, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Okay. There is only one question left. All of them has been answered from the chat. There is one about how do I handle to... there is another one. There are two. Actually, I'm going to try to answer them briefly. Will pranic living be more accepted in the future? No. Short answer, no. Pranic living is not for everybody. It's not for the majority. It's not for most of the people. In my opinion, personal opinion, or they think otherwise, that we are going to a new level. Not for me. I think that most humans are gonna need liquids and solids forever. Most of them. Us, it's because of our past lifetimes and history and our mission that we are learning not to live on that. But it's another story. It's a selected group of people. So it's gonna be accepted? Absolutely not. No, we are not gonna expect to be accepted as such. We are the weirdos. We are the freaks of the war. We are crazy people. No, we are not gonna be accepted. Don't expect that. And that leads me to something the way I handle things with people. I don't tell everybody that I am a pranic. They don't need to know, and I don't need to tell them. I only tell the people I feel like, or I have to, like the people I live with. They have to know, even if they accept it or not, if they reject it or not. But I don't go around telling all the way, hey, I'm pranic, you know, I don't need it. They're gonna say I'm crazy, and they're gonna crush me, try to destroy me, try to discredit me. Why? Because it's human nature. You don't deal with that. You stalk that thing. You don't try to impose your opinions. You accept the things, and you better live in a low profile. You know, live your life good. Tell the people who needs to know, who wants to know, who are ready to know, and that's it. And that's it. No more. So my answer to that question is no, it's not going to be more accepted. And pranic and anorexia. Interesting question, because the pranic and anorexia are two different things. Both of them lead to not eating, but for different reasons. And that's the huge difference. When you are anorexic, you become anorexic because you think, you know, anorexic is paradoxical. Anorexia is a survival strategy. The anorexic people, in my opinion, of course, all of this is my opinion. I may be wrong, completely wrong. I share what I think is that the anorexic people are people who are trying to take control, to take over things, over their life, things they do not have control at all, you know. And then it's a survival strategy. It's not to die, it's to survive. You know, they try to survive by not eating, which is the only thing that they control. And also at the same time, they clean themselves. So you see, a pranic being is the one who wants to live on prana and have a better life. So motivations are so different. That's because I also recommend, if you have anorexic problems, don't try to become a pranic. Solve this issue first. Figure out how to find out the reasons, the causes. Why are you anorexic? Heal yourself, and then go on the pranic stuff. But there are two different things. One has got not to be mixed with the other. Not at all. So different. And one pranic has got not to be used as trying to heal that. No, it won't happen. It won't happen. It will be worse. You will be dead if you try to do so. And the last one is about mundane and supramundane words. How do I handle this? I have answered a little bit about it, but I try to have a low profile, tell on the people that need to. If I have to, if they have to know, I tell them to, but I try to not deal with the reactions. It's not my business. I don't try to get approval of the people. If I try to, you know, that is, in my opinion, the main factor for people who has taken the courses, the pranic courses, the main reason for they to come back is because of the others. It's the main reason. I think 70% of the cases. Why? Because they pay attention to them. They try to get love from them, to be approved by them, and all that stuff. That's not the way. It doesn't work that way. You have to get rid of the people. What the others think of you is none of your business. What the others think of you is none of your business. So you better get rid of that. Don't pay attention to that. Don't hear to them is like this. I have this here. I think you have seen this. Okay, this is a wise way to go when dealing in the world thing. And if you got doubts about doing all this stuff, look, I do to the gym every day. I walk. I go on cycling, even on dry days. I do yoga, do Falun Dafa, do Tibetans. I go dancing once in a while. I don't prevent me from doing anything. Why? because I know that I'm nurturing from prana. That's all I need, you know. But if you are not that sure, you are not that persuaded, you do not have that strength in your will, you better go carefully and don't do too much at the beginning, you know, deal with this and with that, until you reach the stage I'm in. When I am dry days, okay, I went to the gym today, 2 hours. My God, you drink water? No, I didn't drink. You ate some? No, I didn't. And how you feel? Great. You know, the more I exercise, the more the pranic engine gives me the energy I need. It works the opposite way. You only do what you eat and drink, because if you don't have enough food, energy in your body, you can not do anything. But if you're a pranic, it's the other way around. The more you do, the more you get. Okay, that's all. That was the last question, dear Eric.
Yeah. I think the same person who
Can
asked
I?
it. What?
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Before, I just wanted to say I have one really quick question that I've been wanting to ask for so long. Can I just really quick ask? So
Okay,
sorry.
really
Okay.
quick.
People say all the time, okay, since we were, I believe that maybe you said we started living on like not eating a long time ago, then we started eating. So if we were meant to be breatharians, people always ask me, like, why do we have teeth and digestive organs and all that stuff? Like, why do we have the organs to digest or whatever else that we need to with food? Like, is there an answer why we have that? If we don't need to, if we're not supposed to eat, let's say, why do we have, the organs or even the teeth or whatever?
Great question, Lori. Short answer: we have them because we think we need them. We created them as a collective. We humans created the things we needed to survive the way we think we need to survive. It was artificially created by our minds millions of years ago. And that's why we have them here. Whenever you know that you don't need them, you change the program, they start becoming obsolete. And in the future, for pranic beings, maybe they will disappear. But it takes time, because the manifestation of the collective is even slower than the individual manifestation.
And wasn't it Nicholas that said that we're all breatharians and we don't really, so I think he was the first one, because Ray and Ellie Tom, they all do different exercises, energy work and all that. And I always felt like, why do we even have to do that? We like it if we like it. But I think it was Nicholas that said, we're just breatharians. We don't really have to do anything, right or wrong? Yes? Yes, we don't have to do the energy work or the breathing work.
I agree with Nicholas. Nicholas is a wise guy. Yeah, I love him very much. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was wondering. So it always felt good when I heard that. Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you. Yes, thank you all for being here these 2 hours.
Can I ask one last question? She asked, why do we have organs? I asked, why do we have cravings? Why does food taste so good? Why do we?
You wanted me to deal with the root of the stuff. It's long to answer, but short question, because we are humans, because we are sentient beings. Because the answer is because we exist, because we are. You know, the only way to get rid of every craving is by stopping existing, because we became to exist because we crave. If we didn't crave, we didn't exist. Craving is the motor, the engine, the cause for us to exist. The craving. That's why when the Buddha got enlightenment and talked in enlightenment, he said, okay, nothing else is gonna be constructed, built, because the builder has gone. He quit it. I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, I get.
We only have the chance to try to deal with the stuff, deal with it. Okay, handle it, manage it, but we're not getting rid of it until we stop existing. Not even die. Stop existing.
I get it. A lot of it is psychology. A lot of it is about perception. We need to change the perception, and so I like it. Thanks for the inspiration.
Thank you, Ravito. Thank you.
Absolutely, Chris. So now, really short question from WhatsApp. What was your biggest surprise you've had in your process or your progress in life?
Okay, in my process, when I when I had the process, because I am not in a process anymore. It's my way of life. But the biggest surprise when I took the special, particularly the course with Ray Maor, was that it happens overnight. It happens overnight. I was, wow, I'm not hungry anymore.
Wow.
I'm not thirsty anymore. That was the biggest one. I expected it to be gradual, but no, it happened overnight.
Wow, wow. Amazing answer. Yeah. And the last question completely for today, because it's been about 2 hours and a half so far. More of the philosophical one. How do you, when you see all the injustice, I'm paraphrasing a little bit one question from the chat. When we see all the injustice going on in the world, all the imbalances, what would be the best and most sane and most healthy attitude towards that?
Well, there are many approaches for that, because if your task and your mission is to deal with injustice, you have to do something. But I'm talking about the concept, the Sanskrit, Indian, Hindi concept of Svadharma. If your mission in life is to deal with that, you better do that, because otherwise you're losing your time. You came here and you didn't do your work. But if your task is another one, try not to pay too much attention to that stuff, because it's not your business. Do your business. That may interfere with what you're doing. You get involved in things that are not your problem. Okay, unless it is your problem, you will know.
Wow, very wise, very wise. Okay, Chris, so we are towards the end. We are wrapping it up. Now, usually when I interview people who provide some coaching, therapists, or something like that, I usually ask them, how can people who are interested to contact them, get in touch. Now, I want to ask you, for example, if someone is watching this video and if they want to learn more from you, from your wisdom, how can they contact you? Or are you providing any kind of services, any kind of coaching, any kind of personal conversations, or not?
Thank you, Ari, for the question. No, I am not. My Svadharma, my mission on this earth now, is not to organize things, to teach things, to have an ashram, to have followers. No, it is not. My mission comes to another side that deals with me being a witness and being a communicator and being a channeler, an anchor, and all service. I got that clear. So I don't do coaching. I am a lawyer. I work as a lawyer. I earn my living by being a lawyer, and I will be an engineer. I will earn my living by being an engineer, IT professional, all that stuff. So it's different. I don't do that. If there is another question, a particular question, something, if I may ask you respectfully, dear Arik, they may address you or in your WhatsApp group, ask the question. Since I'm part of the group, I will answer that gladly.
Absolutely.
But I do not have a blog or a website, or no, I don't do that.
Yeah, Chris, and we might think about doing another webinar like that, maybe one month or 2 months from now, a few months from now.
Perfect. Yeah.
Just have a chat, have a conversation. It's always fun.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Chris. So thank you very much. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was lots of wisdom, lots of inspiration.
Thank you, Ari. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for having me. Having the honor to talk to these wonderful people, wonderful questions, and listeners. Actually, listeners.
Absolutely.
Love that. I love that. It's a treasure. It's a rare, scarce thing to find in the world. Thank you.
Absolutely. We had such a great audience. Thank you guys for coming, and we'll see each other next week in the webinar. Thank you, Chris.
Bye.
Have a good day, everyone. Lots of blessings.
Yeah. Hey, Kenny.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.